I regret buying this house. That's what I've been thinking every single day for like the past 2 months.
There's definitely a lot of things I didn't consider when going to buy it that I now definitely regret.
I regret buying a house. I regret it a lot.
Y'all, I am regretting buying a house.
I have to say, I'm a little shocked that in 2025, we are still talking about this. Buyer remorse is still a massive issue, especially for first-time home buyers. You'd think after everything we've learned over the past few years that things would have improved, but the latest data and the real-life stories I'm seeing on TikTok and social media say otherwise. So today we are going to talk about why so many home buyers still regret their decision to purchase a home. What's really behind all this stress and frustration, and most importantly, how to avoid ending up in the same situation. If you're thinking about buying a home soon, this video is probably one that you should watch. A recent study by Bankrate found that 45% of home buyers have regrets about buying their current home. And you want to hear something really scary? When it comes to first-time home buyers, nearly 73% of first-time home buyers regret buying their home, according to a recent study by Clever Real Estate. Now, I'll be honest, these numbers really bother me. As someone who has helped a lot of people buy homes over the years, especially first-time home buyers, hearing that 73% of home buyers regret their purchase, that doesn't sit right with me. And the crazy part about this is most of them didn't buy a bad house. They were either just unprepared to be homeowners or they just made poor decisions before they ever got the keys. So let's dig into this. Now let's start with the most common regret and probably the most expensive one, and that is underestimating the true cost of home ownership. Now, most people are pretty comfortable budgeting for their monthly mortgage payment. You run the numbers, you talk to a lender, and you figure out what you can afford based on the loan amount and interest rate. But there is a lot more to owning a home than just that monthly number. And what catches people off guard are all the other costs that come along with owning a home. Up front, you've got closing costs to think about. Then, in addition to your actual mortgage payment, you have property taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, lawn care, and unexpected repairs. And those costs, they go up. Insurance premiums are climbing. Property taxes can increase annually in many areas. So while your principal and interest payments will stay the same for the life of the loan, your total payment, including your property taxes and homeowners insurance, will rise. According to Bankrate's Hidden Cost of Home Ownership survey, the average homeowner spends over $18,000 every year on non-mortgage related expenses. That includes everything from property taxes and homeowners insurance to routine maintenance, utilities, internet, and surprise repairs. And in higher cost states like California or Hawaii, that number climbs closer to $29,000 per year. First-time homebuyers are especially blindsided by how much it really costs to maintain a home. Things like replacing the water heater, repairing a roof, or hiring someone for the HVAC system weren't even on their radar when they bought their home. And that's exactly the problem. Buyers think, I've got this monthly payment, so I'm good. But in reality, if you're not setting aside money each month for future maintenance or emergencies, you are going to feel the pressure really fast. In fact, Clever Real Estate survey found that 23% of recent buyers said their finances actually got worse after buying their home. Not better, worse. Those surprise expenses, they add up quickly. The best way to protect yourself is by planning ahead. Before you even start house hunting, create a real budget, not just for the mortgage, but for everything else. Talk to your agent about typical utility costs in the area. Ask about property taxes. Build up a solid emergency fund before even thinking about buying a home. And make sure to build in a buffer for unexpected repairs, because those hidden costs, they're not really hidden. They're just predictable expenses that too many people forget to plan for. Before we move on, if you are getting value from this video, do me a quick favor and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. I try to post new and useful content every week to help you make smarter real estate decisions. Regret number 2, buying in the wrong location. I see this all the time. One of the first questions I ask clients is, where do you really want to be? Not just the county or general area. What's your ideal location? Yes, you may need to compromise if that ideal location isn't in your budget. But start there. Start with where you'd be happiest living and work outward slowly. Not 30 minutes away just because you can get an extra bedroom. It's easy to get caught up in a beautiful kitchen or a freshly renovated bathroom and ignore the fact that the home is in a neighborhood that you're not excited about. Or maybe the commute is longer than you realized. Or maybe the school district isn't great. But once the excitement wears off and daily life sets in, those location trade-offs become very real. I know many people who bought in a location that checked more boxes on paper. Bigger house, more yard, but it wasn't where they actually wanted to be. A recent survey revealed that 82% of buyers made compromises when buying their home. And while some of those compromises are totally reasonable, like giving up a finished basement or choosing a smaller yard, others, like sacrificing your ideal locations, are harder to live with long term. And here's the reality. You can change a lot of things about a house. You can paint, you can renovate, you can remodel. But what you can't change is where that home is located. You can't move it closer to work. You can't relocate it to a quieter street or into a better school district. That's why I always tell my clients, don't just fall in love with the house. Make sure you're falling in love with the location too. Drive the neighborhood at different times of day. Visit on the weekend. Talk to the neighbors. Walk around. Picture your daily routine. If something feels off, listen to that instinct. It'll save you a lot of stress and possibly another move a few years down the road. Regret number 3, size matters. Another big source of buyer regret, getting the size of the home wrong. For some people, that means outgrowing the home way too quickly. But for others, it's the opposite. They realize they didn't actually need as much house as they originally thought. A lot of buyers only think a year or two ahead when they are house hunting, but you should be thinking 5 to 10 years out. Are you planning to grow your family? Will you need a home office down the line? Do the schools in the area support your future goals? At the same time, some buyers go bigger than necessary because they can, only to find that extra square footage comes with more maintenance, higher utility bills, and rooms that they never actually use. In both cases, the home just doesn't fit. If you end up needing to sell in just a couple of years, whether because the house is too small or too big, you could find yourself stuck, especially if home values stay flat or prices decline slightly. It may not make financial sense to sell when you factor in fees, closing costs, and moving expenses. That's why it's so important to think long term, especially in a market like this. Don't just ask yourself, can I live here now? Ask, will this still work for me 5 years from now? Does the layout offer some flexibility if your needs change? Is there space you can grow into or scale back from without it becoming a burden? Could a spare bedroom double as an office, a gym, or a guest room? Could you finish a basement later or add on if you need to? Too many people will buy a home based on what feels right today and later realize that the home no longer matches their lifestyle. But with the right planning, you can make a choice that supports your next chapter, not just your current one. Regret number 4, overextending yourself. Now, let's talk about one of the most dangerous traps and most common regrets that home buyers have. Overextending yourself and becoming house poor. This usually happens when buyers focus too much on what the lender says they are approved for, instead of looking at what actually fits into their everyday life. So if a lender says you can go up to $500,000, you start shopping for homes at $500,000 or $510,000, because mentally it's easy to think, well, if I'm approved for it, I must be able to afford it. But here's the problem. That pre-approval doesn't take into account your full financial picture. It doesn't know how much you spend on groceries every week. It doesn't consider your student loans, your daycare expenses, car repairs, or the fact that you like to travel a couple times a year. It doesn't factor in date nights, birthdays, pet care, or your emergency fund. And if you're self-employed or your income fluctuates, that just adds another layer of risk. According to a recent survey, 38% of buyers blew past their initial budget, and 37% believe that they overpaid. Even more telling, 51% of first-time home buyers say they feel financially overwhelmed after purchasing a home. That's more than double the rate of repeat buyers. When you stretch yourself too thin, the impact is very real. It's not just about cutting out luxuries. For many homeowners, it means real financial strain. Clever Real Estate found that 40% of recent home buyers had to make major lifestyle changes just to make ends meet. 1 in 5 took on new debt, and 16%, that's roughly 1 in 6 buyers, have already struggled to make a mortgage payment on time. And this isn't just about the home price. Interest rates have also played a major role. Over 40% of first-time homebuyers accepted a higher mortgage rate than they were truly comfortable with just to secure a property. Add in rising property taxes, climbing insurance premiums, and those hidden homeownership costs we talked about earlier, and it's easy to see why so many people are feeling stuck or stressed. The good news is there's a way to avoid this, and it starts by flipping the budget process. Don't let your lender's pre-approval set your price range. That's a maximum, not a goal. Instead, build your own budget from the ground up, based on your real life. Look at your income, subtract your monthly expenses, savings targets, and emergency fund contributions. And from that number, figure out what you're truly comfortable spending on housing each month. Not just the mortgage, but taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, and more. Staying under budget might mean passing on a slightly bigger home. It might mean skipping the dream kitchen or waiting to buy in that perfect neighborhood. But what you get in return is peace of mind, room to breathe, financial flexibility. You'll never regret buying a home you can comfortably afford, but you might regret buying one that eats up your entire paycheck every month. If you take nothing else from this video, let it be this. The biggest source of buyer regret comes from rushing the process and making decisions under pressure. Pressure to buy now, pressure from friends or family, pressure from the market. But buying a home isn't a race. It's not about timing the market. It's about timing your life. If the payment stresses you out, if the location doesn't feel right, or if the house doesn't fit your needs, don't force it. There is nothing wrong with renting. Renting isn't failing. Renting buys you time until the right opportunity comes along. You'll probably still feel a little nervous when you buy a home. That's normal. It's a big move. But if you are educated, prepared, and working with the right team, you are way less likely to have regrets. If you found this video helpful, hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing for more real estate tips and advice. And if you've had any regrets about buying a home, drop a comment below. If you're looking for additional advice on home buyer mistakes to avoid, check out this video right here. Thanks so much for watching. I'm George Poprad, and I'll see you in the next video.